Wait a minute. I have an idea. Maybe if you tell me the bad news in a good way, it won't sound so bad to you.
The bad news in a good way. Yes, I can do that. Yes, bad news in a good way. Yeah. Well, here goes.
Everyone, and welcome to State of the Game number 118 on the 24th of April 2019. My name is Hamish. I'll be hosting this show today, and if you were wondering why we were dancing, it's because I just found out Rasmus has been playing Patapon. One of my favorite games. So if you haven't played it and you are looking for a fun rhythm game, recommend it if you still have a PSP.
Yeah, or a PS4. I think it got remastered.
It's on PS4 as well?
Yeah.
Damn. I feel like we started off a lot of these streams talking about other games,
yes.
But we're going to be talking about The Division, I promise. Before we get into the meat and potatoes of this stream, just a little bit of housekeeping. The apparel event is heading into its last phase. Maintenance tomorrow, 9:30 till 12. Apparently your necklace is rubbing on the mic. Let me just sort that out.
Thank you.
I think this should fix it. Sounds good. I think we're good.
All right.
All right.
It's a cute necklace.
It is cute.
Yeah.
I was talking about the maintenance. So 9:30 till 12:30 tomorrow. We assume we don't have anyone from the live team here to confirm that, but it should be as normal. Players will no longer be able to get invasion keys from projects or drops after that. Also, importantly, the Black Tusk uniform can only be obtained until May 2nd, which is next Thursday. And I made that whole part happen very quickly. But before we get into the next bit with Rasmus, just quickly, we do know there is an issue with the PC slow loading times. We've experienced it here on the stream as well, so we are experiencing the same thing as everyone else. It is a bug, and it's not how booting the game should be, so we think we have identified the cause for it and a potential fix. We'll keep you updated on that as soon as it looks like that fix is being deployed. So Twitter and all of that, if you're looking to keep up to date there. Rasmus, welcome.
Thank you.
How are you?
I'm fine. I got a new shirt.
Yeah, it's nice.
Yeah.
I haven't played Nier Automata. We were talking about that as well.
Yeah.
Apparently very good. And also one of Peter's favorite games too.
Ah.
Yeah, he's raved about that.
Good guy.
Yes. I need to play that too. So PTS is happening right now.
Yes.
How does your job interface with that whole process? Obviously, it's really related to game design.
Yeah, it is. And we're of course looking into like what's happening on the PTS, and we're looking at what people think about it, and looking at data, and then we're working with that like in tandem with future stuff as well that's not on the PTS. But yeah, it's exciting times because we get to test our things and see how they land and do some tweaks, and especially with the second update. It's been really helpful to adjust some stuff, put it out there, and see what happens.
Yeah. So, what has this last kind of week been like for you? I mean, I guess you've been looking at feedback. Are there any things that have popped out?
There's a lot of interesting discussions going on. Like none of them are necessarily related to what we have on the PTS right now. But I'm mainly looking at recalibration because that's the thing I'm testing with my features, so to say. Moving that into a slightly different approach. And it's been super cool to follow like what people think about that and try to see where we can do further improvements. Yeah,
there's been a lot of feedback surrounding recal and all those sorts of things, not just on the PTS, but also on the live game. And all of that feedback is super relevant. So thank you, everyone, for all of the feedback. It's really, really important. We're just getting...
All right. You want to help me out?
Yes. All right. Watch this.
No more tiny cat necklace.
Tiny cat necklace is going goodbye.
All right.
I think we're good now.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Downgrading
now I have
looks.
no more excuse to romantically touch Rasmus. Thanks, chat. Feels bad.
Do you want to feel my shirt?
Yes. That is fresh cotton. But no, so thank you everyone for the feedback that you've been giving on the PTS, but also the live game. If you've been watching people's streams because you don't have a PC to be able to play the game, then that feedback is also super helpful. There's been a lot of conversations going on, and like I say, not just on the PTS, but also on the live game. One of those discussions, and something that I really wanted to touch on today, is as it pertains to the gear score dropping once you hit gear score cap or around 500. People saying that, it's a little bit frustrating for things to come in at 490 and that sort of thing. What's happening with that whole system?
Yeah, so Nicky did a good update on this, so shout out to him, where basically We changed the drops in endgame to drop stuff from your gear score average and up. Whereas before you could get drops that were lower than your average, which makes it pretty hard to equip if you want to be progressing upwards, of course.
Sure.
And this means like if you have everything in 450 and then one knee pad in 500, you can still get lower gear score knee pads because it's the total average, not the slots in particular.
Okay.
So you might still see some lower gear score drops, but in general, it should be at your gear score or higher.
Okay.
And we also rebalanced a little bit like how you acquire those things and the speed of it. So if you have, especially if you have a character that isn't at gear score 500, it would be cool for people to play on the PTS and test that out. Super helpful, tell us what you think. Mm-hmm. And when you hit 500, then we're gonna flatten that out. So all the drops you see will be on gear score 500 for the high-end drops.
Okay.
And then the purples will be 490 because that's where they cap out, so to say.
Okay, all right. What then is kind of your hope for those purple things? What can people do with those that's still relevant to them in the end game?
Yeah, so it's still a good resource. You can find good stats for recalibration, of course. That's one of the strengths with the recalibration system is to repurpose things you find that you don't necessarily want to equip, be it the wrong thing or the wrong brand or the wrong quality. You still have some venue for it. And then, of course, you can also sell and deconstruct them and recycle them in that way or donate.
Okay, well, let's talk a little bit about the whole recalibration thing, because it is your feature.
Yeah.
That's been your baby for a very long time.
Yes.
There's been, I think, one of the things that people have talked about a lot is the situation where you have something purple, for example, and then you recal that stat onto a high end,
Right.
and that frustration of seeing it become a lower number.
Yeah, because it caps out. Yes. So what's happening there is basically that. So the each item has a budget, a pie, basically, and purple pies are smaller than orange pies. But when you move a piece of the pie that is large enough, it will not fit in the bigger one because it can only grow by so much.
Yeah.
And this has been the 15 gear score increase that people are playing with on live, and that's been the case up until now. But when we looked at it, we came back to the core idea that we started this whole system with, which is basically, what if I take this one stat here and I just put it over there, which is a pretty simple idea at its core. But a lot of balancing things made us eventually move into cap that out because it also increased your gear score and so on.
Okay.
So what we did now was that we, instead of increasing the gear score, we separated that into a separate value, your recalibration score. And when you move a stat, that score increases, but your gear score stays the same.
Okay.
So then, like, you can't go to 515 anymore, but instead you can get that recalibration score all the way up to 100.
Okay. Per slot, per item.
Yes.
Okay.
Exactly. And that means that most of the times you'll be able to move stats wholesale over. You can still hit the cap if you have like a really if you find two items with really skewed rolls and then you moved a high roll into a low roll slot. You can still cap that out, but it will be much more rare. And doing so is a pretty good feat.
All right. This is pretty complicated.
Yeah.
To be fair, let's go through it in my kind of layman's terms. I think one of the things that people overlook, myself included, is that let's take a superior item as opposed to a high end. The superior item, in my understanding, and correct me when I'm wrong, is that, like you say, it is a smaller pie. So we're going to talk a little bit about budget,
Yes.
right, as a game design thing. The budget for that is lower than a high end,
Yes.
but it's focused into less stats.
Yeah, exactly.
So less flavors of the pie, right? So
Yeah.
not
Fewer
as
ingredients.
complex pie.
Yeah.
But the high end it has more stat, I guess, slots
Yeah.
with a potential lower ceiling for each of those, but a higher budget overall.
Yeah.
Okay, am I? Is that?
Yeah,
Does that
that is
all
mostly
make
correct.
sense?
The ceiling
Okay.
isn't necessarily lower, but the chance of you hitting the ceiling on one is lower because it's distributed
Okay.
between 3 ingredients instead of 2, for example.
Okay, and that's what leads us to the situation. And Alo talked about this before. Was that like if you had a set of gloves at superior and it had, let's say, 10% assault rifle damage,
Yeah.
and then you recal that onto a high end with a potential ceiling of 6%, that's why you see that 10% drop to 6%.
Yeah, exactly, because there's the power has gone somewhere else.
Yeah.
And moving this you will replace what's in there from the beginning, and then you only, up until this point, you only had 15 gear score worth of power left to fill out.
Okay. So knowing that now, what does this new system do differently from that?
So basically, every pie had an empty piece of it, which was the growth potential, which was 15 gear score. And we made that piece way bigger. So now it's 100 recalibration score instead.
Okay.
So when you move a piece of one pie to another, the chance of you filling that up and basically making the game cut off and discard some piece, hitting the cap, is way lower because more fits.
Okay.
And that means that you can make stronger items in general. But we've also separated it from gear score just so we can do this without screwing too much with other features.
Okay, so you'll never see an item above 500 gear score?
No, you can't recalibrate the gear score up anymore. But you will see up to 100 recalibration score instead.
Okay, is that, and we talked with Redstorm last week about the gear score creep in the dark zone. And we'll talk a little bit about that whole situation, because I know a lot of people have been talking about this whole 515 in the dark zone thing. Does that mean for them, with their message of 515 in the dark zone, that it will be actually 500 with the recal there, or is it actually going to be 515 with your 100 recal on top?
Yeah, so the recal is separate, so every item has their own 100 it can grow, and that's not considering anything else than itself. So basically, every item has 100 it can recalibrate.
Okay, so based on that, that would mean that as of the game right now, let's forget the whole dark zone 515 thing. Max gear score on a piece is 500.
Yes.
Plus 100 recal.
Yes.
Okay. Then, if the dark zone 515 thing, that will be 515 plus recal as well.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm digesting this. I hope chat is on the same page. Just before, while we're on the topic, I know we've been talking about the whole dark zone 515 thing. Do not worry. It is not dark zone exclusive. There will be other sources for those things. We would never want to make it so you have to go into the dark zone to get that. There you go. We'll talk more about that in the future. As to what sources there will be, it won't just be the dark zone. There will be others. So, we got it. We cool? All right. Moving on, because I've got some other things I want to talk about. And if people want to talk about this whole budget thing, there's actually a really, really good video. Game Maker's Toolkit, if you don't follow the channel on YouTube, has put out a really good video about balancing and the whole budget system that game designers use. So Game Maker's Toolkit, we're not affiliated at all. I just think it's a really, really cool video.
It is a really good channel,
Great
actually.
Channel. Especially, I mean, I'm sure the whole game design team know about it because it's a really good analysis of what you guys do.
Yeah.
So check it out. It's very cool. We were talking about how this recal works, and I think, well, we're kind of jumping ahead in what I wanted to talk about, but mods follow very similar logic, correct?
Yeah, but you can't recalibrate them, of course.
No.
But they're also a pie.
Their qualities and those sorts of things. Because, again, well, we kind of addressed it with a different thing, but a lot of the conversation around mods has been blue mods are better. Can you talk about what the game design intention is behind those? How do you want people to be using those in the end-game experience? Do we want people to be only using high-ends, or...?
So high-ends, our qualities grow and becomes better than the previous qualities. And the main way we've been doing this is to add more power to them, but also add more stats, which also spreads that power out a little bit. Ideally, you should go for high-ends and gear sets in endgame, like in any case, because that's a good indicator. And maybe you equip a purple sometime because it has something very specific that you're after. But it would be good for you to find then a high-end piece that has those things and something more to replace that with, basically.
Yeah.
And then for skills, we have the thing where you don't have enough skill power to equip
Yes.
mods of higher qualities. Then it's pretty cool to be able to fall back to something that's a little bit worse, but that works for you. And we actually did a thing to help non
I like this.
skill build players.
Because this is new.
Yes, it's pretty new. So if you're not specking for skill power or only spec for a little bit of skill power, you might find it hard to equip certain mods for your skills that you want to equip. And what we're doing then is we're introducing a new type of mod called aux batteries. And these basically come with skill power for a particular skill. So you can get a drop that's a battery for your turret that gives you turret skill power. And then you equip that into your turret in one of the mod slots. It can go in any slot.
Okay.
And then you get the skill power, but then you also sacrificed a slot for it, right? But if you have some kind of hybrid build, it might be worth to get one or two mods functionally less to get that extra skill power, so you can equip a third mod that is way better for you, for instance.
Yeah.
So it's gonna open up more build diversity. I think it's really cool. We added them in just as normal mods, so you can find them from drops. If you craft the random mods, you have a chance of getting them too. And yeah.
Yeah, I think one of the things that leads people to the purple and blue mods is that they come with a really big singular stat on them. And I guess the thing that dilutes a high-end mod is there's a lower chance for all, is it 3 stats on them to be exactly
so,
what
yeah.
you're looking for. But,
Yeah.
But the potential to find the perfect high-end mod, while it might be lower, the potential power of them is a lot higher.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. Blue and purple mods being craftable, that's happening.
Yes, we're adding in blueprints, so we don't have to farm for the skill mods for blue and purple
All right.
to accommodate for the low skill power builds
Okay.
in general. And you can buy those blueprints at our new crafting vendor, which is Inaya, the crafting NPC. She is now a vendor, and
Cool.
she sells blueprints for you.
All right. And
And
that's going to
she-
be in the PTS, the next revision?
No, I think it's up now. Actually,
already is? All right.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. All right. That's a lot.
Yeah,
And
and we're also moving all the crafting related stuff that was on the other vendor. So you got a couple of skill mod blueprints during the campaign, the ones that grow with you, and the weekly blueprint. That is also moved to Inaya now. So we're clearing up the main base of operations vendor and separating the crafting stuff out. And also with like upgrade blueprints for exotics and all that jazz is now on Inaya instead.
all right. Well, we're going to talk about the blueprint situation in just a second.
Yeah.
But let's say to clarify, let's say I'm gear score 500 and I have the blue mod blueprint and the purple mod blueprint.
Yeah.
Those will be what, 490 when they craft? And
Yes, and whatever the equivalent. Well, they will be slightly lower.
but they can't cap out at 500.
No,
Okay.
they don't.
All right.
Because only high ends go to 500 and gear
Okay.
sets.
Man.
But we don't have gear set mods, so.
All right. Game isn't complicated at all.
No.
There's a lot. My brain's kind of like, but you just mentioned blueprints, and I want to go into that because a lot of people are getting to that point where they've exhausted the amount of blueprints they can get from specific sources, but there
Yeah.
isn't really in-game feedback. For example, we talked about it before the stream. Like a lot of people are going to control points and getting them that way, and then they don't show up anymore.
Yeah, exactly. And if that happens to you, good for you. You got all the blueprints from control points. Congratulations, you did a good grind.
Yeah.
And that happens because blueprints are unlocks, right? You only get them once, and then you have them forever. So they eventually run out. So and we've divided the blueprints into different pools in endgame. So the control points was one pool, and then we also have for the vendors and for the projects, basically, and a few from drops and some other sources. But that's not the issue here.
Yeah.
And what was happening was that you could only get the project's blueprints from the weekly project, and that was fairly slow because you can get one per week. So we looked into that, and we started with adding 2 more. So there's a weekly project from each settlement that will also give you one of these blueprints now. So those are 3 per week.
All right.
And to make it even better, we're adding a new project that's called the Daily Shade Requisition, which is a daily project from the base of operations where you donate some crafting materials. I believe it's 2 green and 1 blue type, and different types each day. And when you do that, you get a couple of items on a high end, and you get a blueprint from this pool as well. And you can do this every day.
So you can now, well, you will be able to, once the update comes out, go from what is currently the weekly pool and start pulling those daily. So it's not going to be the weekly pool anymore.
Yeah, it's going to be a project pool instead.
Okay.
And you get 3 per week plus 1 per day.
Cool.
Yeah. And the daily project may or may not be on PTS at this point, because we're still working on some kinks with it. But for all intents and purposes, we're shipping it at least.
All right. What about ammo drops?
Yes, they're good to get.
Yes, I like those.
Yes, because melee is kind of bad strategy.
Yeah.
No, so we bumped the chance of you of getting an ammo drop from enemies when you're low on ammo. So you'll be seeing more of those gray resource drops as you're running out, which gives you more opportunity to go and pick more ammo up, basically.
Okay.
And hopefully that will help you to not run out.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, that always sounds like a pretty good thing.
Yeah.
What are the other things that, I mean, we've gone through all the points that we need to, that I had written down. Do you have anything else that you wanted to talk to or encourage people to look at on the PTS that you and your team are keeping an eye on?
So gear score progression in the world tiers, as mentioned, really good. Please test that if you can. And also testing the recalibration. We made it a bit easier now for the second wave, so we added a steel cache on the vendor. That basically gives you all the crafting materials. So you go and buy that, you open it, you get more crafting materials than can fit on the screen. It's hilarious.
So you'll be fine.
Yes, and then you can go and recalibrate your heart's content.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Or it will be easier, at least, for you.
Nice. Obviously, you work with other people on the team. What are they focusing on, if you happen to know? I know you work really closely with Nikki. And he's
yeah, so Nikki's been doing the gear score update. We're also working on stuff that we're not talking about at this stream. So that's been taking a lot of our focus. And we're looking over rewards and balancing and making sure that everything feels right. And yeah, we're all over the place.
Fantastic.
Doing tweaks.
That's good news. All right. We're going to be hanging out for a little bit longer. We've got some agent highlights to go through, and there's some really, really cool ones coming up, as well as some of the photos. So let's take a look at our first agent highlight. I think this one's...
Can I mention one more thing before we do that?
You can.
So the gray crafting materials, the base materials, you can only carry 400 of those.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we made them a little bit lighter, so they can now carry 600 instead.
Right. Well,
so
cool.
we bumped that. And we're looking at the caps. That's something we're continuously evaluating.
Okay.
But to begin with, you will be able to keep more grays around.
All right. Well, that's handy.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Nice.
And
more.
And one more thing, but this is not on the PTS though. But we bumped the hardwired gear set, the one that you craft.
Yeah.
So when you crafted one, we made sure that it could roll all the way to 500, but the range was from 450 to 500 or something like that.
Okay.
And we upped that to be 480 instead.
Okay.
So you'll roll in a smaller span, but still towards the upper end, because since you need to farm for these materials and stuff, it's kind of unfair to give you a 460 of these when you're looking for the 500s. So you won't be hitting 500 every time, but you will be more in the vicinity of what you're after way more often.
That's good.
Yeah.
Cool. I have to try that one out. I haven't even started crafting that one yet.
Oh.
All right. If you think of anything else, we still have time before we head off. But let's take a look at our first agent highlight for the week. This one comes from a Diabetic Steuben. Oh, this PC is sick.
Yeah.
I think that's the Fractal Meshify case.
Sure.
I think it's the Meshify C. We actually built in this, and I painted one of these over on the Ingon channel, which was a lot of fun. But you see, he's spray painted, I think, the Phoenix on the front mesh case, which is really cool. Really, really, really cool. And a bunch of fans in there. Oh, wait, I can't quite see from here. What is that? A triple radiator in the top and then a water pump? Okay. Anyway, that is a sick build. Absolutely love it. Can I have it, please?
I'm guessing not.
I guess not. Also, never ship anything with water cooling in it. It's a terrible idea. When you play at home, are you on console or PC?
PC.
All right.
Yeah.
Nice.
I have a copy on PS4 as well, but PC.
Yeah. Same.
Yeah.
Do you mind revealing what kind of rig you're running on at home? I know I find it interesting to find out what people are playing on.
So my stationary rig is from 2012. It's really old. I need to update it. It has a 480.
Oh yeah, no, the 480 was a good card.
Yeah, it was.
I upgraded from the 480 to the 970.
Top of the midline.
Yeah,
Best
exactly.
bang for the buck when I bought it.
Yeah.
I was poor.
But it's running on that?
No, I play on my laptop instead.
Okay. I was going to say, damn.
Yeah, no, I got a pretty new one, a Legion from Lenovo, with the 1060, I think.
Yeah.
Runs pretty okay.
Nice. I'm running on a 1080 Ti and a 2700X.
Can I have that, please?
That's new. I love it. Okay, next up for our agent highlights, what do we got? Yeah, Moonlight 1906 and Speak and Show with the sick Hunter cosplay.
Nice.
Coming for our I love Hunter cosplays. I know people often look at Matt Shields or Splinter Shield since he was the orig, but it's so cool to see other Hunter cosplays out there. That is actually kind of beautiful. Go follow on Twitter if you can. They are from St. Petersburg. I see. Speak and Show is from St. Petersburg, a biotech student and photographer. And Anatoly, or Moonlight, is, I think also... Oh, yeah! Also the one who painted the tags showing last week on State of the Game, which I found out aren't metal. I think they are resin. So now you know, in case you were like up all night.
Is it microfiller resin?
I'm not sure what type of resin.
Because then you can model your skill, I think.
Christmas!
I'm a nerd.
Please. Okay. Also, people out there, PSA, if you're looking to work with resin, be very careful. That stuff is serious business.
Yeah.
I see a lot of people out there, working with resin or like heavy 2-pack spray paints and stuff and not using the appropriate protection. A regular mask will not help. You need a proper ventilator.
Yeah.
Just, you've been warned. Stay safe out there.
Don't use your starting gear mask.
No, exactly. You did the descriptions for those, right?
Yes, my proudest achievement on this game was to make the descriptions for the starting gear, including that mask.
Because a lot of people probably missed them, but they are what is it? The thing that no matter always stays wet, no matter how.
Oh, it's the gloves. So fun thing with these is that they're largely based on a true story.
What?
Yeah. Because I did military service in Sweden, which at the time was 11-month conscription. And then I did a tour to Afghanistan as well.
Yeah.
So I've tried a variety of army issue stuff. They're not always that great, including our combat gloves, which somehow always were wet, somehow. And you would leave them, like when we were tenting in the woods, we would leave them out near the fire to dry them, and they were still wet when we woke up. Somehow it was the strangest thing. Like on a summer day, they were just damp.
I don't understand.
No, we didn't either. It's like infinite water, I guess.
What were some of the other ones? The
knee pads that slides down, protects your shins instead of your knees. That's also a thing.
Fantastic.
Yeah, my knees will never be the same. God, all the gravel in our training grounds. And the backpack that's not very comfortable.
I can't imagine that it would be very comfortable wielding a backpack that is that big.
No, I don't think any backpack would be actually. Like not all the stuff was that bad. Some of it was okay. We didn't get to use it, but we knew it existed.
Sure. Well, if you feel the need to go in and have a look at Rasmus's descriptions, if you start a new character, it'll all be there.
Yeah, it's there.
Awesome.
Enjoy,
yes.
I guess.
Now you know where it comes from. All right, we have one more agent highlight, and this one is super cool. I need to make I think we have a 3D printer here in the office somewhere. Do we? I'm not sure.
Probably.
But these keycaps from none other than the Queen of Blades herself, Sarah Kerrigan.
It's Snipes' Bolt Boss and Boom Babe.
So
these are the names.
I've never heard that.
Oh, you haven't? No. I officially named them these the specializations.
Boom Babe, I like that one.
Yeah, Boom Babe is the best.
Yeah, but these keycaps are super cool. And again, I love the StarCraft reference if no one else caught that one. But yes, Sarah Kerrigan has posted these, and there's super good news if you have access to a 3D printer. My first question was, are these for sale? But they're not even for sale. They're free.
Yeah.
Like you can download the printer files. We have links to them. Ella, what's the best way to share those? I mean, I guess
I'm hoping the mods.
Discord, maybe.
Yeah, I'm hoping the mods will send them in chat.
Yeah, if they're not in chat now, we'll just ask in Discord and we'll make sure to hook you up with those. I do not have a 3D printer myself, but that would be great for an escape key.
Yeah.
Then you'll never miss it. Just like, boom.
Yeah.
All right. Did you remember anything else you wanted to cover before we run off? We are running out of time.
Yes, small quality of life thing we did to the
Cool.
recalibration interface is that your weapons will now be sorted into categories that you can quick nav between.
Oh, cool.
Instead of sorting like they do in the inventory, where it's based on what you have equipped and then on gear score. So it will be a little bit easier to find what you're after, basically.
That's so nice.
Yeah,
Thank you very much
we're
for
doing
that.
our best.
One of the things that I think we talked about on the stream with Redstorm, we've only released the game like 5 weeks ago.
2 years, it feels like.
No, it feels like so long. So it's kind of crazy that we're talking about all of these things coming in thick and fast to the game. We're going to be here for a long time. So make sure that you continue to give us feedback about these things. The next phase of the PTS, I think, starts... We don't know. Do we know?
Probably by next week.
We're not sure. Sometime soon. Before next week, likely. But until we know for sure, we will not state. But again, Twitter or Discord will make sure that people know there. That's going to be all for today. Thank you, Rasmus, for joining me.
No, it was my pleasure. Now I can release my tiny cat necklace to the world again.
Yes, it is cute.
It is cute.
People, if they are interested in hitting up on Twitter, is that okay?
Yeah, sure. My tag is Dweep the Sheep.
That's another story I
yeah,
need to know at some point.
Yes, with DWEEP and then the sheep with underscores in between.
Cool. We'll make sure that the
I have
mods
my
put
full name
a link
visible
in
there
there
as
too.
well.
All right. Thank you very much. Again,
Thank you.
like always, hashtag the Division 2 photos if you want to share your photo mode things. We've got this week's coming up in just a second, and we're doing monthly winners for those as well. So we'll be telling you more about that very soon. All right, we will see you all again very soon. Make sure you test out the PTS and stick around for more State of the Games. Oh, not next week. Not next week. It is a public holiday here in Sweden, but we'll see you the week after that. All right, we'll do gameplay things and all that stuff in between. Bye.
Bye.
Any second. There we go.
What, are you crazy? Why are you laughing? This is terrible news.
Well, you told me I was just trying to soften the blow.
Well, you blew it.